EU leaders come together in Salzburg from Wednesday for an informal two-day summit with some key issues at stake, striking at the core of the bloc. The UK's Theresa May will be in town for dinner as the Brexit endgame approaches. Some of her divorce terms still too sour to swallow. And there'll be plenty to feast on in terms of migration, as Italy's anti-establishment government continues to pile pressure on Brussels to cure that political headache. For Theresa May, the Salzburg summit will be the first time EU leaders have sat down together since she unveiled her Chequers Brexit proposals. She's got a tough sales job on her hands, with big sticking points like the Irish border still standing in the way.
It will be very important to come with a clear agreement at this meeting. I think this is really the 11th hour. And what I would like to see progress with is some concrete agreements on what will happen on the Irish issue. If that is solved, a lot can follow.
In a letter to leaders ahead of the summit here in Salzburg, EU Council President Donald Tusk confirms a special Brexit summit in November is likely. October had been the target. We will discuss how to organise the final phase of the Brexit talks, he says, including the possibility of calling another European Council in November. And he adds, unfortunately, a no-deal scenario is still quite possible, but if we all act responsibly, we can avoid a catastrophe. On migration, leaders meet in Salzburg as the EU's criticised over plans to boost Frontex, the EU border force. The Czech and Slovak leaders among those wanting cash to directly protect their own frontiers. All this amid Italy's demands for Brussels to ease the load.
I don't expect real progress in Salzburg. That's because the member states, EU states, remain very, very divided. And some political parties are even increasing their consensus because of the migration crisis. So they maybe don't want to be too fast in solving it.
Last month, Italy threatened to withhold EU funds if Brussels didn't step in and get migrants on the Diciotti rescue ship shared out across the bloc. Deep divisions coming just months before crunch European elections.
We are at a crossroads. I think that the elections will not really change completely the landscape, but the problem will remain and will need to be solved sometime.
The soundtrack is set for a bumpy meeting in Salzburg as the EU tries to find its feet at this time of political turbulence.